Alright, what's up, everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, the breaking news that has just happened about 15 minutes ago, my time, as I'm recording this video right now. Pascal Siakam has been traded to the Indiana Pacers in a 3-team deal. We're going to talk about all of it, how it affects everybody in this deal in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications to all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. So if you do like the content, hitting the subscribe button would mean a whole lot to me. Link to my Twitter and TikTok, stuff like that, in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So I'll tell you a little funny thing before we get really into the trade. And if you can skip like a minute or something, if you don't care. But it's hilarious. So I'm about to upload my video. I did a video about the Clippers today. That was the original video that was supposed to be, because at that point Pascal hasn't been traded. But I was like, all right, so I'm gonna upload a Clipper video, and I literally just finished editing it. I was about to upload it, literally about to go on YouTube and upload the video. And as soon as I'm about to do that, I get the notification saying that Pascal's having me traded. And I'm like, oh well, now I just have this random Clipper video. I'm probably gonna upload it on because I'm gonna be busy on Friday and Saturday, so I'm probably gonna upload it on Saturday. You know, it might be a few days old, but I'll re-edit it. Who cares? But yeah, just a funny thing. So I was about to upload a Clipper video, but instead Pascal got traded. So I was like, all right, now I have to do this video. So basically, let's get into the trade. So it's a 3-team trade between the Pacers, Raptors, and somehow the Pelicans got in on this deal. So basically, the Indiana Pacers are getting Pascal Siakam, and they're getting a pick from the New Orleans Pelicans, a second-round pick from the New Orleans Pelicans in this deal. The Toronto Raptors are acquiring Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, 3 first-round picks from Indiana, 2 2024 firsts, one of them being the Pacers' own. Pacers also had another 2024 first-round pick that had some weird protections. It was from OKC, Clippers, Houston Jazz, a complicated pick, but that's also going to Toronto. And they're also getting the 2026 first-round pick from the Pacers, and they're also getting Kyra Lewis from the Pelicans. And I don't know what the Pelicans get in this deal. At this point, I don't know what the Pelicans are getting in this trade. I've been waiting for it, but it hasn't come. So I was like, I'll just do it. Because at this point, if they haven't said anything, no one's probably isn't getting anything special. They're probably getting a second-round pick or something out of that. Nothing game-changing, I guess. So yeah, but that's basically the meat of this deal. Is Pascal is going to Indiana. And yeah, first I'm going to talk about it from the Indiana Pacers side of it. Of course, the Pacers and Pascal have been linked for a lot of this year, especially with the Pacers being as good as they have been. They've been the best offense in the league. They've been really surprised. They made it all the way to the in-season tournament championship game. And yeah, Tyrese Halliburton has been arguably the best guard in the Eastern Conference this season. He's been great. The Pacers as a team has just been super fun to watch, and they've been amazing right now. They're currently in the middle of the Eastern Conference playoff race. I think they're sitting 6th right now. And there's been a lot of talk about Indiana, having a couple picks, having some young players, and potentially going out and make a big splash move. And Pascal Siakam, of course, has been a name on the trade market for the past 2 years, especially with his contract coming up. And, Indiana and Pascal, they've been linked for a little while. And last night, during the games, there was a report saying that they're in talks about a trade to potentially send Pascal to Indiana. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to happen. And I was waiting for it to happen. I thought it probably was going to happen that night or tonight, early this morning. So I kind of was waiting. And then it happens now, finally. Pascal goes to Indiana. And the interesting thing to me about with this for Indiana is Indiana doesn't have to give up any of their young players, which is why a lot of people saw 3 first-round picks and they were like, whoa, 3 first-round picks for Pascal. What? And I understand that, of course, nowadays, especially how valuable picks are, and picks are kind of a little bit maybe even prioritized over some young players, potentially. Picks are a big thing. But it makes sense that they gave up 3 firsts, because you've noticed they didn't give up any of their young players. The Raptors, a lot of talk about the Raptors where they wanted Ben Mathurin, or they wanted Jarace Walker, or they wanted one of those 2 key young players. But Indiana, I guess, was hesitant to give them up. So instead, Indiana gave up a couple first-round picks instead. They're like, you know what? We don't want to give up Ben Mathurin. We don't want to give up Jarace Walker. We don't want to give up any of our young pieces. So instead of taking both of those guys or one of those guys in a pick, we'll give you 3 first-round picks instead. Because honestly, I guess they're just kind of going all in and making the splash move, saying, you know what, we, are confident in this team. We're confident in Pascal Siakam. We're confident that this team is going to be really good, that we don't really care about our first-round picks for next year, And basically, they're going to have a first-round pick next year, basically, because Jarace Walker doesn't really play yet. And they have Ben Shepherd, who's another first-round pick of theirs. So basically, they're kind of bringing in 2 first-round picks next year if they get in the rotation, because those guys aren't really playing. and they're kind of just sitting in the G League for a while. So they're kind of, it's basically like bringing in a rookie or a first round pick next year. So they're kind of just like, we don't really care about first round picks, right now because we believe we can go win with Pascal Siakam. So we're willing to sacrifice our picks to go get Pascal, And a big thing, about potential Pascal talks was he's going to be a free agent. And that's why kind of conversation with the Kings kind of broke down because the Kings weren't willing to give up a lot for Pascal if they couldn't really get him to resign. And, after the deal, Woj tweeted out, says Pascal Siakam is excited about the deal to the Pacers and expected to be eager to work out a new contract with the franchise this summer. He could be a free agent. And that was a talk in the past few days that there's apparently reports saying that Pascal, no matter where he was going to go, he wasn't really going to commit yet. He was going to wait and test out and see what happens, and then he will commit. But it looks like apparently Woj saying, Pascal is excited and wants to work out a new deal in Indiana. We'll see. But yeah, for the Pacers, this is a really good trade. I mean, again, not having to give up. They didn't give up Ben Mathurin. They didn't have to give up Jarius Walker. They didn't even give up Buddy Hield. Which is very interesting. I thought for sure Buddy Hield was going to be gone if a Pascal trade was happening. But instead, they give up Bruce Brown, who they paid a lot of money to in this offseason. And he's been very solid for them. Obviously, he has been injured a little bit. But they give up Buddy Hield. They give up Jordan Nwora, a young player that kind of was just sitting on the bench. And they give up the picks instead of the young pieces or the valuable pieces. And now I'm looking at this for Indiana saying, maybe they can make another move. Not like a big splash move like Pascal Siakam, obviously, because they gave up a lot of their first-round picks. But they still have Buddy Hield. They still have Jalen Smith, potentially, that could get traded. They could put, because of reports a couple days ago saying that they're packaging Buddy Hield in a pick, trying to see what they can get. They still have Buddy Hield, who probably is going to get traded because he wants a new contract. The Pacers aren't willing to give him the contract, and it's probably going to end up in a trade, even though Buddy Hield's a really big piece of this team, and, it's really valuable to this team. It's just like, money. So Buddy Hield essentially going to be, they can package Buddy Hield, Jalen Smith, and maybe the second they got from New Orleans and get something else. Not an all-star like player like Pascal Siakam, but they can get something pretty decent, that can help their defense or something like that. So the Pacers, I love this trade for Indiana. This is a great trade for Indiana. For Toronto's side of it, they have to give up Pascal. They're going into the rebuild. They showed that with trading OG Anunoby away. They're like, yeah. As soon as OG got traded, everyone was like, all right, Pascal's next. And there's a lot of reports coming out recently that the Raptors are, they want to trade Pascal, and there's been talk about Pascal even though he wants to stay. And, the Raptors don't really want to keep him around. They want to go young, especially with how Scotty Barnes has been playing this season, and they do it. They trade Pascal, and instead of getting the young pieces, like we thought they were going to get a Ben Mathurin, or they thought they were going to get a Jarius Walker, or something like that, instead they get a couple picks, especially 2 from next year, which is interesting because I looked at the Raptors' picks after this trade, and the Raptors did not have a first-round pick this year. The Raptors pick, I don't know where it was. I can look it up real quick. So the first-round pick is actually a protected pick. So this first-round pick is actually, it was in the Acapulco trade that went to San Antonio. So it's top 6 protected. So if it ends up in the top 6, it goes to Toronto. If it ends outside the top 6, it goes to San Antonio. And right now, it would actually be in Toronto's picks. Right now, they would have the 6th pick if the draft would end, or the lottery would start, or, if it went off, standings, Toronto would keep that pick. But now, even though they did lose, their first-round pick from next year, potentially they could lose it. But now they bring in 2 firsts next year. So there's potential they could have 3 first-round picks next season. 3 first-round picks, potentially. And then 1 in 2026 as well. So that's a big come-up for Toronto. Even though in the OG trade, they didn't get a first. They got OG and RJ, which was or they got RJ and IQ, which is kind of like their, instead of getting a first, they just got good young players. It was the opposite in this deal. Instead of getting the young players, they got the picks. So now they got both. So now, trading away OG and Pascal, they got back RJ Barrett very quickly, 3 first-round picks, and a couple second-round picks as well. I think a second-round pick from New York in that trade. You also get Bruce Brown's salary, which I don't know what's going to happen with Bruce Brown. I don't know if they're going to trade him or if they're going to keep him around. I won't be surprised if they keep him around unless maybe they flip him. And the Raptors aren't done yet as well. The Raptors still have Dennis Schroeder, who apparently has been not happy now that he's moved to the bench because IQ is there. Dennis Schroeder can still be a tradable piece. Gary Trent Jr., he's going to be a free agent. Gary Trent Jr. could be a guy that can move. The Raptors still have some moves they can make. Bruce Brown, they can trade him. Maybe they can flip him and get something else. Because I'm sure a lot of playoff teams would love to have a Bruce Brown, even though he is getting paid a little bit, some money. But still, so the Raptors are not done. Masai Ujiri's doing this thing over there. Now, the Raptors, you got rid of Pascal, OG, they're embracing the new. After Pascal's gone, now there's nobody left from the championship team a couple years ago. It's a new team, new fresh faces, new picks, new everything, and I like that. Toronto was last few years, kind of just stuck in this middle pack where they weren't that great to be like a 2 playoff like contending team, but they also weren't bad enough to be kind of like a tanking team. They kind of were just in the middle, and now they're kind of establishing themselves as being like, all right, we're gonna trade off our old players. We're gonna have a new team. We're gonna have a lot of picks next year, and we're gonna go younger. With this nucleus now of Scotty, RJ, IQ if they re-sign him, and now 3 first-round picks from next season, potentially at least 2 with Indiana if they get their own. If they continue to kind of tank and fall, they potentially could get 3 first-round picks next season. So that's big for Toronto. So yeah, I'm very excited for both these sides. In New Orleans, I don't know why they're in this deal. They give up Kyra Lewis, who was just sitting on the bench. I guess he gets to go to Toronto now. Maybe Toronto, kind of has him. I mean, Kyra Lewis was a lottery pick a couple years ago. He's had a lot of injury problems and stuff, and just now in New Orleans with so many players in New Orleans, there's not really any room for him. So maybe he can go to Toronto. Maybe after they trade Dennis Schroeder, maybe Kyra Lewis can do something in Toronto. Who knows? But yeah, New Orleans is, I guess, around. They just wanted to throw in a player and a pick. Haven't got anything back, I guess, in this trade yet, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, I'm very excited for the Indiana Pacers now. Very excited to watch Indiana. Pascal and with the Pacers now you have. So I guess their lineup now is Tyrese. I don't even know. They could do a lot of different things because Bruce Brown was their starting 3. They're starting 2 now. Does Buddy Hield get back in the starting lineup? I mean, you traded Bruce Brown. Now who starts at the 3? Brad Matherin maybe starts? I don't know. They could do a lot of different things, though, with this lineup. They could do a lot of different things. They have a lot of different players, obviously. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm very excited now with Indiana or Pascal, man. This just brought them up maybe a little bit. Indiana, we're very excited to see how Indiana looks now with Pascal and Tyrese, especially when Tyrese comes back. That new duo over there have some more consistency scoring, especially in the half court, offense, where, it's not just Tyrese doing pick and rolls and dribbling around. It's now they can have another guy that could put up 23, 25 points, another all-star-like player in Pascal Siakam. Very excited to see how that works. And now Toronto, I'm excited for them as well. A new kind of era in Toronto, led by Scotty Barnes and Maya Quickly and RJ, and now they have a couple picks for next year. Very exciting stuff over there for both sides of it. So I'm very, excited for this deal for both sides. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. And once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications to also like that. I'd really appreciate it. There's a lot. Let me know what you think about this trade. I want to hear, what do you guys think about this trade? Indiana side, Toronto side, New Orleans, I guess, or anything. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.